Oscar-nominated producer, director, actor Stanley Tucci!
And it just seemed to make sense. Everything seemed to make sense when I was on stage.
Did you identify, middle school, high school is always tough to fight, so did you identify yourself as like nerd, jock, theater,
No,
man?
I didn't identify myself at all, which is probably why I started acting, so I could identify myself.
Yeah.
I did, I played sports, I was a soccer player and played tennis and skied and all that sort of stuff. And, sorry, was I too far away? It's very aggressive. He could have said just move closer. Anyway, so I did, I did that stuff, and then I acted, and then you do whatever you do. But I think acting was, in a strange way, in a way, maybe a search for an identity.
You don't hear it?
Yeah, basically every role I never thought. Even like in The Devil Wears Prada, I remember that I was cast in it at like the 11th hour. And oddly enough, the woman who cast it was a very good friend of mine, Ellen Lewis, who cast the movies that I had directed. And but I was looking for a job. I mean, I really needed a job. Anyway, that came along at the 11th hour, and it was very exciting. But I think they scoured the earth until they came to me.
I mean, you were perfect for that role, and I loved even, I don't know if you've seen Nigel-Devil, all the outtakes, especially where you're saying like gird your loins and all these like different words like that. Like in those situations, are you just sort of like ad-libbing those kind of things all the time? Wow.
Oh, yeah. It was David Frankel, the director, who came up with gird your loins. I wish I could take credit for it, but he did it. And he just wrote down a whole bunch of them, and we would throw stuff out, and then we'd just try one at a time.
Yeah.
Of course, we found them all very funny. And Emily, who's my sister-in-law now, we were weeping. In fact, there is one shot in the movie where you can actually see her laughing in the background.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I last saw the movie, I was like, oh my God, I never noticed that before. She was laughing. They caught her just in the corner. Yeah.
That was a juicy role.
Big teeth.
Yeah. Big teeth. When I watched that, I can't help but like gravitate towards your teeth, and so what's going on there? Is it like a prosthetic, or is it like what did they do to like make those?
Oh yeah, no, they're fake teeth.
Yeah.
No, what you do is that you take a mold of your every time. If I do like a number of like the Lovely Bones, I wore fake teeth up top, and for like Jack the Giant Slayer, fake teeth. So different movies I'll wear because it helps me. And it seems to be appropriate for the character. So, but what they do is like when you go to the dentist, they just take that mold and put that stuff in your mouth, which is really, you always think you're going to choke and die. And they always go, you'll be fine. And so they take that mold, because your teeth are always changing from year to year. So they take that mold, and you go back and you go, this is what I want. I want teeth that maybe look like this. And then they come back with a version of it, and then you try it on, and it fits to your mouth perfectly. You top, bottom, or whatever you want, and we just did it for Beauty and the Beast. It's funny, with like 3 different versions of teeth. It was really, it's great, and it makes a huge difference. And it makes acting much easier. You don't have to do too much, really. You just show your teeth.
Is there, out of all the roles that you've done?
I think The Devil Wears Prada for me was actually one of the most enjoyable experiences ever. And Julia with Meryl. But then you do stuff like Transformers, which is a gas, it's the complete opposite. You're acting with a tennis ball and a stick. What's my verbal counseling? Terrible. I'd rather have the tennis ball and a stick. She's great. She's just a nice person. She's has become a very good friend. She's a very devoted friend. She's just one of those people who I'd always respected, and I was thrilled I got to know her sort of socially first, and then we worked together. When you work with her, you kind of work. Not that I haven't worked with great actors, but you kind of go like, oh my God, Meryl Streep is incredible. I mean, she's incredible.
It would seem that it would be so just intimidating, just that.
It is. It's scary. Well, the thing is, when you act with her, I forget that I'm supposed to be acting too in the scene, because I just want to watch her. And there were times where I'd just be like, oh, Meryl Streep. You know, and then I'd be like, oh, fuck, I have to say my line. I swear to God.
Well, why don't we go to
Challenging role.
Yeah.
The most challenging role was Lovely Bones, without question. But it's very disturbing. I don't like anything about. I don't like to watch anything or read anything about kids. You know, when stuff. You know, to me, it's the most awful crime of all. So it was very hard to do, but it was so beautifully written, and I thought it was a really important story to tell that I did it. And my wife, my late wife, she had read the book and she said, "No, I don't know if you should do this." And I said, I don't know if I want to do it either. But then when I really looked at it, you talked to Peter, and I'm very happy I did it in the end.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was incredibly disturbing, you know, watching documentaries and looking at photographs online to put together a kind of composite of, like an amalgam of all these guys, because I had a feeling I knew what I wanted them to look like. And then, you know, I talked to, you know, FBI guys, and I did a lot of reading about it, and it's just, but you could only do it for about an hour and a half a day. It was too painful, yeah. And I couldn't wait once I had the look of the guy, then it kind of helps you distance yourself from him. So at the end of the day, you take all that stuff off, like I padded my stomach, I had different hair, skin color, contacts, teeth, mustache, all that stuff, hair. And then once you put that on, you kind of become the guy. It's just pretending, really. And then you take it off, and then you're yourself again, and you go have a martini.
Hi, my name is
Definitely not the Lovely Bone.
very clear.
Yes. I think that probably, I think maybe Paul Child in Julia and Julia. I think also The Devil Wears Prada, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, he's gay," you know. But I think that sort of caustic sense of humor that character had, I really liked. And the dad in Easy A. That's the dad I imagine I am. And my kids want me to be. As opposed to pick up that towel. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I have a question.
Yes, that's right. No. I think the country's in rough enough shape already. You don't need me, you know. As Groucho Marx said, you know, if you think this country's bad off now, just wait till I get through with it. No. But thank you, I really appreciate it. It's nice that you have the faith in me. But my knowledge of our political system is really that of like a third grader's. So probably, maybe in a couple of years.
I'll keep the hashtag
Yes,
strong.
thank you so much. Very kind, thank you. Maybe First Lady.
So if I could make another grand statement. You were really the impetus of this super renaissance. It's all to you.
It's true, and I don't get any royalties from it.
Stanley, who's that guy? This is the one
That's right. He's nothing without me.
I
tell Chris that every time I see him.
What was it like working on the first Avengers and that period piece? And,
Well, I'll tell you, it was fantastic. We shot it in England, and it was when I started to get to know my now wife, and I became friendly with Haley and Dom and Chris, and I was just there for 3 weeks, but it was really one of the best things, and I'm not just saying this, because we're at Comic-Con. I mean, it was like one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was truly fun. Joe Johnston's a great director. I thought the film was stunning visually, and really sophisticated visually, and I loved it. And when he asked me to play the character, I was directing a show on Broadway. He asked me to play the character, and I read it, and it reads as, and like a 68-year-old, Jewish German guy. Should I be flattered? I don't know. Like, that's nice. He thinks I can do that. Does he think, do I look like I'm 68? Anyway, I said, why do you want me to do that? And he goes, because you'd be great. You can do it. I said, all right, yeah. And then, again, once you see the character, it was easy. And I loved the way it was written. It was a great script. For a lot of Hollywood scripts aren't great. This was a great script, and the character was so beautifully written. And the chance to do an accent, I always like. It's a challenge, but to really get it right, you really want to get it right, and that was fun. So we would have to do it a number of times.
It was astonishing.
It's so well done. And you think about how many years ago was that? That was about 7 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. I mean, it's very impressive. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
My name's Maria. I love telling jokes and hearing about other people's stories. What is one of your funniest stories on set that you've done with somebody to make them laugh?
Pressure's on now.
Oh, God, jeez. What? Two, if I don't know if I have one. I'm trying to think. Can I think about it and answer that question in a little bit?
Sure.
Is there?
I hope I have something.
I was wondering.
Do I have a funny anecdote?
No, well,
No, you don't know.
I'm just wondering. Whether you work on the Lovely Bones or working on the Devil Wears Prada, is this?
It was about the final solution. Great, thank you. That it's the Nazis basically a meeting they had at Von where they're deciding on the final solution, how to orchestrate it. And that set, it was 16 guys. It was all British guys who all knew each other, and I was the lone American. But it was quite jokey, because the subject matter was so heavy that you had to, like you say, you had to release the pressure, because it was, then they'd start rolling and you're talking about the worst thing, that one of the worst things mankind has ever perpetrated. So you do have that back, you have to have that kind of,
Yes.
Hey Stanley, just in leisure or spare time, what kind of books or TV shows do you like to catch up on or read?
Oh, well, I love watching cooking shows. I love cooking shows, and I live in London now, so a lot of the cooking shows are actually really, really good, and there's great food in London. It's become a huge food culture. I like documentaries about, like, archaeology and things like that. I'm so boring. It's incredible. Otherwise, and I cook a lot. So I like to.
We're talking like Iron Chef, like.
No, not like that. No. Like Rusty Chef. But I love to cook, and I paint, draw, and go to the gym, stuff like that.
Awesome.
I have to go to the gym every day. That's the key thing. Thank you. Thank you. We say too much. We don't have to say that much. And writers think that an actor always has to say something, but they don't. You can be more judicious.
So my question on that then, and you may have already sort of halfway answered that by saying that you now live in London, was, were you cast for that role originally, or did they revise that role once they had an American actor?
It was written as the character was supposed to be Scottish, and I made an attempt at a Scottish accent. One session with a dialect coach, and she looked at me, and I went, "This is terrible." And she went, "Yeah." And I said, "I can't do this. Maybe I'll just do a British accent." So then I did that. Now I've done British accents before, but I couldn't quite figure out what I wanted it to be. And then I called the producer. I said, "You know what? Honestly, I think it's just weird if I'm just doing a British accent just to do a British accent. Why can't we just make him American?" And they said, "Yeah, we can make him American." I said, well, this just would be easier on everyone's ears.
Thank you, and here's to martinis.
Thank you. The only thing I can say is, I think just be true to yourself. And don't be serious about what you do, but don't take yourself too seriously. I mean, I think the downfall for any artist or anybody in the arts is taking themselves too seriously. And we see it very often. And it's unpleasant. Do you know what I mean? It's better just to be serious about what you do and then go have a martini. Thank you. Thank you. I had to do ADR for, before you fix up the sound and stuff like that. Do a few additional lines, and oh my God, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
Can you tell us a little about the character that you're playing?
Well, it's a character that was added. That I play a harpsichord, and as one does. He is married to the wardrobe. Maybe I gave that away. No, it doesn't. Anyway, it was great. He starts out obviously as a live person, and then the spell, and then the spell. I'm not telling anybody something they don't know. And it was a great experience. It was Bill Condon who directed it, and I had worked with him on The Fifth Estate. He's such a nice man, and he said, will you come and do this role? I've added this role, I want you to do it. And I said, but do I have to sing? He said, no, maybe a line, maybe a little bit. And I said, no. I said, I can't, I love you, and I love the story and everything, but I can't. I really have a pretty good career. And I'm not ruining it now by singing. And he was like, yeah, but I said, no, Billy, you don't understand. I can't do it. I cannot sing, and I will not sing. God damn it, And my kids were like, Dad, no, you can't sing. My kids have beautiful voices. It's really frustrating. Anyway, he said, no, it's fine. So I did it, and it was just beautiful. Just great fun.
Is he a flamboyant?
He's a flamboyant
French?
Italian.
Oh, Italian.
He's Italian. Yeah, Ewan McGregor is French. And he's the candle stick. Yeah. It's always good to have a Scottish guy playing a French guy.
It's awesome. It's country, it's awesome.
Yeah, you can't tell.
But anyway, very excited.
He's great. He's great.
But again,
You've done this for a long time, and you walk onto your set, and you go, oh, that's a great set, and that's good. You walked onto this set, and you felt like you were a kid again. Wow. Everyone was just in awe. And things were done practically, like when the doors open, the wind comes in, these candles there was hundreds of candles that they would light by hand for every take. I've never seen anything like it. It was really like kind of old-fashioned filmmaking.
the biggest question is, can you tease us at all about how is the beast going to look? Or
I can't do that.
Can you draw a picture of it and show us?
No.
Any pictures on your phone? I tried.
Mickey Mouse will come down and strangle me.
Those ears are big for no reason. It's listening all the time, so. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the abuse within the Catholic Church was so profound, and is still so profound, that it was something that you really wanted to be. You wanted to be a part of that film. You also wanted to be a part of the film because it was so beautifully written, and there were these wonderful people, but the subject matter was absolutely important and crucial. And it was significant impact on the way church is dealing with these issues, or actually now finally dealing with these issues, because the church was not dealing with these issues. So yes, I suppose in some way it was kind of an antidote to the Lovely Bones for me. You had a second question?
Yeah.
Very important question. I just want to let you know right now that no pressure.
But Captain America is like my son. You know what I mean? Starstruck. I was completely starstruck. I had the biggest crush on Cher when I was a kid. We used to watch the Sonny and Cher show in my parents' bedroom. You know, we had the little TV, and the, you know, and I just couldn't. How could you not be in love with Cher? I mean, she was so beautiful. And anyway, so then I met her, and I was within seconds we became friends, and I'm still struck in a way, you know. And I still, if she texts me, I go, you know, to my wife, I go, Cher just texted me. It's terrible. I don't get it. Cher. She's great. She's really funny. She's really smart, even though she pretends that she's not. She's really smart, and she's a great actress. I mean, you think about what she's done in her life. She's one of the only people who's ever won, like, not that the awards matter, but in her case, they're really important because she's deserving of them. You know, Grammys and Tonys and Emmys and whatever, Oscars, and you know, she's incredible. And Christina was great. You know, I did a little bit with Christina. I didn't have that much to do with her, but she was really nice. She'd never made a movie before. She was lovely. It's a shame she can't sing. I'm a very physical person. You know, some people are more physical than others. I was athletic when I was young, and I still, you know. To me, your body is absolutely. You can't. You know, there's an old thing that you learned when you were in school. That a lot of actors in the early part of the century, and particularly British actors, would act from the neck up. That they were sort of divorced from their bodies. This was true to a certain extent, but not fully. The connection between what you're doing emotionally and what you're doing physically has to be a natural and seamless one, and what you're doing verbally. They have to be seamless. The way a body moves through space will change according to what that body's feeling. So if you're really feeling those things, your body will move naturally. I am like I have to exercise. I try to exercise like 6 days a week. As I get older, I change the exercise. I do like Pilates. I never thought I would do, but it's kind of incredible as you age. You know, the wear and tear in your body. You know, from push-ups and all that, from light weights and all that, is kind of devastating. So to me, it's a really important thing. When I direct movies, the relationship between bodies in space is really, really important. You were talking about silences before. To me, the negative space between people physically is as important as the positive space of their bodies. So when you're acting, you have to be aware of that. What is the appropriate distance when I'm talking to you and we're having a confrontation? What is the appropriate distance? And how does that change according to as the scene is progressing? But also, when you're directing a film, how do people move within a space? And how do I use that empty space to tell the story as much as I use the positive space to tell the story?
That'll be interesting to go back to movies and watch for that now.
Yeah, it's the same as the silences we were talking about before. At the end of Big Night, it's a 5.5 minute master shot of two people just sitting together, you know. But prior to that, it's people walking around cooking the thing and how those bodies move into space. And it's all about not just those people, but how are they moving within that space and the space around them. And then the silences. Thank you.
You've already,
roles in your life. Are there any roles that you either wish you could play, would love to play, given complete carte blanche to pick anything in the world, or that you would like a second shot at?
Oh, yeah, well, I'd like a second shot at some of the stuff I directed, that's for sure, without question. I think everybody who can't play James Bond wants to play James Bond. So that would be a James Bond villain, that'd be awfully fun.
oh, villain.
Without question. You have to, before I die, I have to do it. Or I'd play, you know, Miss Moneypenny. But I think, I don't know. It's hard. There are so many great roles. I think something like Richard III would be an amazing role to play. But there are lots of them, and I would like very much to figure out some way to tell a story about Groucho Marx, because that's such an interesting person and had such a tremendous impact on show business that I'd love to play Groucho Marx. Thank you. No,
so much.
They wanted us to, and I went and met a guy who was a geo, I don't know, what was it?
Scientist guy.
Something.
Played time.
And it was, I didn't understand a word he said, so that wasn't helpful. So you just pretend. But certain scripts, yes, without question. Doing conspiracy, yes, did a lot of research. Julia and Julia, lots of research. If I'm writing a film, do research. And it really just depends on the movie and what it requires. And then you take what you need, you put all the pieces together, and then do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, last question.
Narrate, you do accents,
Mm.
all of the things. What story would you like to read?
Well, I have done a lot of audiobooks in the past. I don't do them anymore because it takes a fair amount of time. I don't know. I think maybe some of the stories of John Cheever's short stories, I think are really, really beautiful and moving. Those I'd like to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never answered the question. Where's the lady who asked for the funny anecdote of that? But the one I'm thinking of now is not really, it's just a silly thing. When Meryl Streep, when we were in the bathtub together, taking photographs for this one scene that they sent out a postcard, Julia and Paul sent out a postcard from Germany, where they were at the time. We spoke only in German accents for the entire day, which of course we thought was really funny. And you could just feel the crew going, why are they going? Nora laughed for about 3 minutes, and then that was it. But we had a grand old time.